Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Ruben. I'm director of a life science organization, in fact, the Dutch Techcentre for Life Sciences. That's my background, and I now also chair the FAIR research program of the Dutch Open Science program, NPOS. So this is why Karel asked me to come and show you what we try to do in the Netherlands. Unfortunately, we do not have large funds available to establish consortia yet. There's something coming up, but the model that we try to establish, I think, could work very much aligned to what Jörg just mentioned. Our approach is to try and establish a fair research ecosystem in the Netherlands, but just to showcase that this is my background, molecular biology, in which we have over different areas of biology and health, we have similar data integration challenges. And that has led to the establishment in 2014 of my organization DTL. This was one other aspect. We really saw that there is a lot of data being lost and a lot of research output not being reproducible. So there was a clear call for data stewardship. This is what we established in the Netherlands within this life sciences area, a research network of academia, industry, at the level of data stewards, engineers, researchers, policymakers, public-private, to try and get some, further with this data challenge. And that has then this was founded in 2014. Karel actually is president, so the president of the EOSC Association from the onset of DTL was chair of our board. And we started actually by organizing this workshop that has led in 2016 to the publication of the FAIR principles. So our drive was life sciences needs better data stewardship and needs better interoperability among data sets and among disciplines. And this was one of the results that I think was really, and of course this was not just a result of DTL, but it very much fitted our strategy, and also to bring this outside the Netherlands and outside science. I'm very happy to see that it's now global and is in fact now really core to the EOSC. In 2017, the national program Open Science was established in the Netherlands, and as you can see here in the middle, a FAIR data line was clearly already part of that. This was a first 3-year program in which we've established a few, so this is of course part of the more general frame of open science, so there were quite a few projects that were run. I want to highlight a few. One was that we tried to get an overview of what actors we have in the Netherlands dealing with data. And it turned out that that's quite a few, and that there is quite a lot of strength to build on, but the conclusion was also that there is a lot of fragmentation. There's little alignment, not as much as we would like to create really a fair-based research ecosystem. So this was one conclusion. The other one was that we started, this is from my organization DTL, we started to work on the roles of data stewards, because we see that in the Netherlands we need data stewards really to make this work scalable. If we really want to go to a fair-based research ecosystem, data stewards are essential. And we defined 3 different roles of data stewards. On the basis of that, actually, as part of the MPOS program again, then a whole program was set out, a roadmap to build a professional community of data stewards in the Netherlands. This is published, you can see it, and it already has led to the establishment of formal job profiles at the universities of the Netherlands and at the university medical centers. So this is really a sort of a basic step up to scale an ecosystem in which we can have data stewards work on fair implementation. This is now published on Zenodo. You will be having access to the slides. Alongside the development of NPOS, of the National Program Open Science, our National Science Council, NWO, started to invest more structurally into the digital infrastructure of the Netherlands, already pointing to the importance of fair implementation. And this has led to 2 types of structures that I would like to compress in digital competence centers. They are now being established, and in fact they have been established locally at all universities and university medical centers. Mostly, so adding to in fact, all research performing organizations now can receive some funding from NWO to establish these structures, and they're really set up to perform local support, to provide local support to researchers. They're often based in libraries combined with ICT organizations, and they are well, I think they really perform a very, very nice local coordinating role. On top of that, we are now establishing another structure which is called thematic digital competence centers. So with the help of NWO again, for the larger domains, life sciences and health, natural and engineering sciences, and social sciences and humanities, these structures are now being established to try and help coordinate at the domain level. And this would be a graph in which you can explain how these structures relate. At the bottom here, the local DCCs of universities, they need to work with all flavors of scientists, so to say, within their organization. They act within the constraints of their budgets, infrastructure, policy. On top now, we have this structure of thematic DCCs. They'll be operational within 1 year, I expect. And they will actually link the different scientists across these organizations and help them to make their data sets interoperable, of course linking to international infrastructures and initiatives. I now switch to an example in health. In April 21, our government decided to invest in establishing a national health data infrastructure, which is called Health RI, Health Research Infrastructure. We were awarded close to 70 million for 7 years to establish this national structure with all the stakeholders that we have in the health domain. This is the structure of the program. I will not go into detail other than pointing to the middle one, which says this is going to be a fair-based national infrastructure. We are currently designing this model in a hub and nodes structure in which we have the university medical centers at the core, but in a setup in which local fair data are being announced, so to say, are being so not moved to, but really signaled to this national portal. They report to this national portal that we're going to build up in the hub Health RI. This is going to be not only the university medical centers, the universities, but also hospitals in the Netherlands. The ambition is here to make make data from healthcare available for science and for innovation. As part of this program, this is a slide that I got from our Science Council, Zonnem W. We tried, as part of the COVID pandemic, and this very much relates to what you said, Jörg, I think in Germany, try to facilitate the verification of COVID data, even though we didn't have these consortia yet, we didn't have Health RI established yet. But we started to work with colleagues in various initiatives, including DTL and Go Fair, to try and build, or I didn't know that this was animated, to try and build metadata schemas for COVID data that would, that would involve data stewards in each research team that was awarded funding for COVID research in the calls that were set out very quickly all. And involving these local digital competence centers in the universities to make sure that we would aggregate these data and funnel them to the national portal at Health RI. So this was actually, avant la lettre, what we are now trying to establish at larger scale. Okay, 2 minutes. Yeah. I will now get to, and as part of this endeavor, and I want to point out, we're trying also to work on tools, on approaches to actually capture, to make it more easy to make data fair and to align across communities. So working with the Go Fair Foundation that was established in the Netherlands, we're now designing so-called fair implementation profiles as an instrument to capture the agreements that you make within a community and make them machine readable. So this also captures the standards that are being used in communities. This is, of course, not a Dutch thing, but I think it's an interesting development that I think would be workable also at the EOSC level. Just to point out, this is health data, this is sensitive data, and in order to really capture these data from hospitals and and make them available for science, it was clear that we need to remove a lot of obstacles, not only on the fair side. So since this is a policy event, I thought I'd like to mention this. We work now with our ministries of science, of economic affairs and healthcare to actually remove, so we set up a list of obstacles for data reuse, and we started to actually turn this into a trajectory to remove those obstacles. So this, by the way, does include the legal aspects as well, and the ministries have set up or have signed to actually help us maybe even get to the legislation process if there are obstacles that really need to be removed. So this also refers to the earlier discussion this afternoon. I will skip this. What I'd like to show in my last minute, if I may, is the multi-stakeholder approach that I told you that the outcome of the first phase of NPOS was really, we have a lot of stakeholders, we need to bring them together. And I'm happy to see that there is a colleague here of the Fair Data Table in the room, Francisca, hi. We have set up a Fair Data Table, or a Fair Research Roundtable, I would call it, in which we assemble all these stakeholders now. And really try to bring them together to make this fair-based research ecosystem a reality. We coined 4 key actions. First one, build a professional community of data stewards. That is core to our strategy. Enable the generation of fair digital research output. This is, of course, in association with not only the universities, but also with the science domains. Realize an interoperable network of fair services and infrastructure, and this relates to the sensitive data. Build a trust framework for access to such data. Skip this. This is part of our strategy to build stepwise in a national coordination, a national web of resources, very much similar to the EOSC strategy. So local fair data resources, but also an infrastructure and services network. And this is now part of the process to design our 2030 NPOS program. We're not quite sure yet, but it seems that we're going to have some interesting funding levels. We're speaking about 20 million now for the next 10 years per year to be a facility to realize this. Okay, thank you very much.